Hello, all you long distance motorcycle riders and, in this case, roadside attraction people. Road Hogger here. This is my vlog for August 30th, 2025. I stayed in St Francisville, Louisiana for the night, and I ran into a whole bunch of interesting people there because evidently there was a high school reunion where they invite all the classes. And it was really interesting because outside in the smoking area, there was some people there, and there was one gentleman who was like, I guess the main organizer for the event, but there was like 600 people there. The hotel was completely full, but other attendees, like they brought RVs or they were tent camping. They rented out a giant ball field or something, like they're close to the town and stuff. But it was very interesting because the gentleman was telling me, it's like, I mean, it was practically all black high school, and he was telling me like in the 1930s or something like that, a Jewish gentleman financed like over 500 schools for black people, and he went on, and it was a real good history lesson too. I mean, he was wearing a shirt because their 100th anniversary was in 2022, so it was 1922 to 2022, and it's his high school is no longer a high school, it's now an elementary school, but at least it still exists as a school, whereas my high school was started in 1968, and it was turned into a community center, and I guess now it's not even that, and I guess after a bit it's probably going to end up being bulldozed, and they'll be putting up like apartments or Dollar General or gosh knows what. Anyway, so I ended up leaving there a little bit late because there was like more people to talk to and such, and but not too late. I think it was around 9:30ish or so, and I was heading to two different waypoints, and those were the roadside attractions. The first one was the Bonnie and Clyde ambush site, and I did the Google Maps, and there's no super slab in it between where I was and there. It was all state roads and back roads, and I posted a couple of videos of some of the roads it took me on. Louisiana's state roads are a little bit chunked up and stuff. It was a little bit of a bumpy ride, and then there was what was it, Louisiana LA 505. It was like 27 miles. It was like nothing, and there was a section where, well, there was more than a few sections where it was like totally isolated. There was no oncoming and no traffic behind me, and then there was this one section, Shiloh Road. It was a connector between two of the Louisiana, I don't know if you want to call them state roads or whatever, but it was like trees were growing over. There was no shoulder whatsoever. It dropped off into rocky ditches and stuff, and it was like dark and lonely, and a lot of these places, like you'd be riding along, and then all of a sudden there'd be a home or a single wide trailer, and they weren't abandoned because there were vehicles parked out there and stuff, and it's like there was no towns around or anything like that, so not even a Dollar General or anything like that. It was like, I don't know where these people get their groceries and their gas and all, but they must like load up and bring it there or whatever, because it's not just like running a couple of miles to the Walmart or something like that. That was a real eye opener. And then I was getting worried about fuel, and I ended up stopping at this. It was like I had to make a turn on like a 508, a Louisiana 508 or something like that, and there was this like convenience store there, and it only had one pump with two handles on both sides, and it was like regular and diesel. So the bike don't like regular, so, but I was getting a little bit worried. So you know what, I only ended up pumping like not quite 2 gallons in there, so I figured the 93 mixed with the 87 would be bad, and the bike didn't end up knocking or anything. But I ended up going inside, and they sold like those Hunt's pizzas, and which are actually pretty good. I had those in Such Georgia when I stayed at the motorcycle campground up there, and they also served that crispy crunch chicken. And when I walked in, they had like these tables along the wall where the windows were and stuff, and there was quite a few local people in there having their lunch. And when I walked in through the door, dressed in my vest and hat and all, it was like it was one of those when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens moments where everybody just like turned and looked at me as I went in there. I ended up going to the restroom and came back out, and they were like looking at me again, and I waved at them and they waved back. And when I went outside, there were some people pulled up in their pickup trucks and they were saying, "How's it going?" I go, "Oh, it's going good." And they were smiling at me and stuff, so it's like, But they were friendly. I mean, considering what I look like, totally out of place. But so I got onto that 508, and I think I probably didn't even need to get the fuel, because I think the ambush site was like 20 minutes away or something like that. So I found that, took some pictures, and then I started to go to the second waypoint, which is in Gibsland, Louisiana, which was the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum. And I was checking the phone, and it said there's no cell service. I was like, oh. So I knew I ended up having to go north and west. So I just got onto the road and headed on up, and then I got to a T section, and I knew it was west, and there was a sign there that said Gibsland, so it was like 2 miles or something like that for that. So I got lucky. I didn't have to like pull out my Rand McNally and my erasable marker and mark it on my windshield where to make my turns and stuff. But always have a plan B, if your technology doesn't work. But I got up to the Ambush Museum, and there was a space up front, so I ended up having to park up front and went inside. It was really quite interesting. I mean, it was just about, because evidently that was their last stop before they end up getting ambushed by the law and the Texas Rangers down at the ambush site. So they got sandwiches to go, never got to finish them. But I went through the museum. They had a replica bullet-riddled car. They said 167 bullet holes. The real death car is in Whiskey Pete's Casino in Primm, Nevada, and it says like 112 bullet holes. Anyway, that's a lot of bullet holes, But it was really interesting. They had they had dioramas of the site, all kinds of newspaper clippings, tons and tons of photographs. Because evidently Bonnie had a camera with her and stuff, and they had undeveloped film in it, and so they ended up developing. And that's where all those famous pictures came with her, with the cigar and the pistol and all that kind of stuff. But they had a recreation of the morgue scene with some dummies and or mannequins, and they actually had photos, autopsy photos, morgue photos. They were pretty darn gruesome. I should have taken the pictures of them, but I didn't take any pictures of them, and I couldn't have posted them on Facebook anyway. They probably would have got flagged or whatever. So, but went through there. They had a penny smashing machine, so I had 4 of them. I got 2, the Bonnie and Clyde one and a Ambush Museum one, and I bought the obligatory shot glass. They had a shot glass there, and then I went, like, right next door is the cafe, and that's the same place where they stopped and got their lunch. And I ended up, for my lunch, I ordered the Clyde Barrow last uneaten meal, which was a fried bologna sandwich with mustard and onion. I guess he was a pretty simplistic guy back in those days. So I ordered one of those and some crinkle cut fries, which I know they didn't have crinkle cut fries back in those days, but and I met some interesting local people in there too that stopped in to get some sundaes, ice cream sundaes, and I was talking with them some and got some like interesting local talk, and then settled back up, and by that time I had cell service again, and it was it's like I think 19 miles to the hotel. So I made it to the hotel, but by then it was like 5 o'clock, and which is good, so I didn't have to worry about trying to check in early or anything. And here in Minden, Louisiana, and it's a nice room. I mean, I took some pictures of it and I made some notes. Had good water pressure. The Best Western site said that they had a continental breakfast, which I usually ends up being like fruit, individually wrapped pastries, and coffee. And much to my surprise, this morning they had a full breakfast. They had egg rounds, like little round things, and sausage patties, and biscuits and gravy, the fruit, the cereal. I mean, it was, it was kind of generic like, but it was good. It was filling. I mean, it's cheaper than Waffle House, or should I say it, Cracker Barrel. But so I had breakfast and loading up. I'm going to be heading to my cousin's place in Irving, Texas today. So going to spend a few days there. Going to get a few more roadside attractions and see how it goes before I head on up to Oklahoma. So on that note, we're going to see it again. Is it going to do it on 1 click or 2 clicks? This is a road hogger saying goodbye and God bless.